What do the assassination of an insurance CEO and the worst note I've ever gotten on a screenplay have in common? I'm definitely on some sort of FBI list right now, by the way. I wrote a screenplay a few years ago about an assassin sniper who targets health insurance CEOs and then also congresspeople who vote to gut insurance regulations, leading to the preventable death of their child. And then the assassin carves letters into the bullets, sending a message. This is happening. Yesterday, Brian Thompson, the evil CEO from Cobra, was assassinated. He's the evil CEO we've all hated of a company we've all definitely heard about since long before yesterday. We didn't just... And the reaction to his assassination has been interesting, to say the least. Just remember, folks, snitches get stitches, which means they get healthcare. So while we're waiting for that prior authorization to decide whether or not we should be sad, I was like, this is kind of funny. I wrote a thing about like an assassin targeting health insurance CEOs. In mine, they were stamping a single letter in the back of each bullet and shooting them once only. So through a series of killing rich assholes, we start getting letters and we're trying to figure out what do these letters spell. And it goes R8, R, A. The main characters in my script are FBI profilers who are doing their voodoo black magic of being like, oh, I studied the crime, and so I know it's a 33-year-old white male bedwetter with a lisp, or, you know, someone who makes out with his dogs. So the rival profilers have different theories, and then it's like, well, we have a test for this. It's like science. You got your theory. Well, here comes the next bit of data. We get another bullet. What's the letter? Who's right? My main character is the profiler who's super smart and definitely right, and no one believes her, but it turns out she's the right one because she's super smart and the main character. The sniper keeps missing low, hitting him in the stomach. Some of the victims don't die, and they use this, some of the profilers, as evidence that this is not a trained sniper. But my super smart main character realizes the shooter is not missing. They're intentionally hitting low, trying to cause maximum pain and suffering, and maybe make you deal with like health insurance. Okay. Why would they be doing that? What are they spelling? Our theory is that it's not an 8, it's an ampersand. It's R and R, ACA. That's what they will eventually spell. That's her prediction. For Repeal and Replace Affordable Care Act. That's Obamacare. So this was set in a hypothetical time. Obamacare had been repealed, thus kicking lots of people off health insurance, getting rid of these regulations that we fought for, things like lifetime coverage caps, where the insurance company can just be like, yeah, we've spent enough money on your kid's cancer. Here, pay for the other rest yourself, $500,000, whatever. Not covering pre-existing conditions. And this repeal had led to the preventable death of this killer shooter's child. So they're sending a big message. There's of course other theories, other rival theories, and they're like, oh, this will be what the next letter is. And then our main character, who's super smart, is then proven right when we get the next letter. Okay. She even theorizes that the shooter is a woman. And part of the profile is that the shooting in the stomach is reliving the C-section by which she delivered her child who died of a preventable disease. Oh, we're getting Freudian or something. So, you know, there's a shooting. Oh, we gotta rush, get ballistics. Is there a letter? Can we make it out? Sometimes the bullets are too damaged and you can't, and so you have a blank and we don't, okay, what's the next letter? And so you can see how a thriller could be based around this. So when I woke up this morning and saw, oh, this CEO shooter wrote words on the bullets when they were killing a health insurance CEO, I was like, oh, I need to go delete my browser history and flush all that cocaine and then get around to getting rid of that corpse in the crawl space. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Isn't crawl space a funny word? You know, you don't call the hallway the walk space. You know, you don't call the shower the kill room. So I did kind of predict this. I mean, there's not a ton of examples of people like writing messages on bullets. And so the fact was like, I wrote one about killing health insurance CEOs and writing things about health insurance on the bullets. And then we get deny, defend, depose. It's not exactly punk rock, you know? Repeal and Replace Affordable Care Act. That's not like fuck the police. So, did I predict this? Or is this like obvious? In the comments, am I a predictor of future events? So if you're wondering what's coming next, like what's gonna happen where I go, that was in my script. Number 1, a massive overreaction by law enforcement and media who were captured by rich people, right? So giant manhunts, and it's like, now's the time to go kidnap 12 minorities because you're not gonna make the news for that. In my script, they were able to get away with several strikes, including of like Congress people that voted a certain way. So imagine the world where like this just keeps happening once a week. The manhunt gets crazy and the like rich people really tighten the screws on like the government, and it's like ATF, DEA, US Postal Inspection Service, doesn't matter. They're all just like being pressed into this. So it's like this whole investigation's a bureaucratic clusterfuck. And they start making all these people just be like bodyguards. It's just like any detectives, ATF, whoever it is, they're just like, instead of doing their real jobs, which is to serve, 300 and some million people, no, you're a personal bodyguard to some rich person now. Like real guillotine sharpening behavior. Political assassinations are contagious, just like suicide and divorce. They're contagious ideas. Might be more of these coming. Copycats, maybe. This happens in my script. We have this shooter doing this whole series, and then like a copycat emerges, and then it's like, wait, is this the same MO? Is this evidence actually helpful to this? Or is this is muddying the waters of the investigation? This is a different person. And if we have a copycat who leaves a bomb in a hunk of alligator meat, I'm definitely a wizard, because that's in my script. Drain the swamp, it's like only I come up with like serial killers that are being sarcastic. My shooter snipes from a distance. They have a little sniper nest, right? Gotta cover your tracks. What do? You leave ass loads of DNA behind. How do you do that? You just go to like a barber shop, you go to a public bus, oh, there's some hair. And they're just collecting hair for months, and then they just look, hair everywhere. Get some blood, I don't know, you get blood. Splatter some blood. So good luck, forensics team, figuring that one out. But then we found out today the killer's leaving behind like a used water bottle, a burner phone, all this evidence just left behind. So if it comes out that they're taking shit out of trash cans and then leave and it's not their DNA, I'm definitely a wizard, and I've got a crypto coin to sell you. It's called Tua. Invest in that thing. My killer gets away using public transportation. There's cars, license plates, Uber. This is too complicated. There's too many ways to get tracked. All you gotta do is you walk away, you go find somewhere where there's no cameras, you change clothes that you have in your backpack, put the clothes you're wearing in the backpack, all right, and then you walk away somewhere, you get on a bus. Blurry bus photo. You can wear a mask, like, what are you doing with that? Very different from like a license plate reader. And apparently the person got away on an e-bike, probably then to public transportation, I think. In researching this, I thought, I was like, okay, here's where the shooting was. Here's their spot at the Starbucks, and then they went like up to Central Park, and I was like, I've been to New York once. I think I stayed at this exact hotel, and in fact, I think I made this like exact route. I walked to that Starbucks. Granted, there's a million Starbucks, but I think it's that one. I went on that trip the same year I was working on this script. Went to New York, walked this route, and then now several years later, it's like the exact same route. Like, what are the fucking odds of that? Am I a wizard, yes or no? So this screenplay of mine obviously did not become a film, but it was the subject of the worst note I've ever received on a script. Now, producers are famous for giving just terrible script notes that make no sense, or it's like, I don't think they understood this. My favorite example is on Back to the Future. Steven Spielberg got a note from the studio guy saying, we should change it to call it Spaceman from Pluto. Like, what the fuck? So Steven Spielberg just wrote like, that was a really funny joke, and sent it back. Just be like, fuck off with your stupid idea. It's so stupid, it's obviously a joke. And then the producer's like, oh, it was a joke. Okay. So let's think about my script a little bit. It's about political assassinations, insurance executives being murdered, greedy assholes, a political system that's completely broken, and people don't feel like anything in the government's really serving them. And so what other recourse do you have if you can't pass laws that protect the people? If the rich assholes are controlling the government and the media to just protect them, well, that's when the pitchforks get sharpened. When we can't air our grievances in a civilized way, we'll find uncivilized ways. And then the media's like, oh, this is so bad. This rich guy was murdered. This is so bad. And it's like, what are the stats on how many people he murdered? Because it's percentage points and dollars and all those numbers. Those mean like he killed more people than like Bin Laden. And my main characters are FBI profilers who are dealing with like studying serial killers. And the opening, they're like dealing with wrapping up a previous case that involves abduction and castration. And so like the main character's got a theory, her rival at work's got a theory, and so who's gonna be right when they catch the person? Why are they castrating the men in the desert? And what is that? Is it women getting revenge? Is it a closet gate? Okay, castration details. We got that going on. And then after this like Pandora's box is opened of these like politically motivated assassinations, and then we get a copycat, and when the copycat goes and tries to kill a liberal Supreme Court justice, and then we're like, if they'd have been successful with the Republican president, just appoint a Republican, like, is this how you swing the Supreme Court? Is you just assassinate justices, and then if your party's in power, they get to replace them, and then we swing the Supreme Court? Like, this is where we're at. This is what we're talking about. And I feel like several years ago, I was a little bit ahead of my time thinking about these kinds of things. I'm definitely on a list. And so we're living in this world of political assassinations and thinking about like whether or not the guillotines are being sharpened right now. You know, time is a flat circle. But there is some dark humor to the script because it's me, you know. Hopefully would say, you know, a little Fincher-like, you go watch The Killer, the newer Fincher one, you watch Seven. There's some dark comedy in there, which leads me to the worst note I've ever received on a script. Something seemed a bit campy about repeal and replace. The message repeal and replace kind of sounds like she's lobbying to repeal and replace the ACA, not that she's against it. Right? It's too confusing. Like just now when we found out the guy who killed an insurance CEO wrote deny, defend, depose on bullets. Are we sure the killer's not saying like do those, deny insurance claims, defend your denial of them, and then depose the sick people, use your lawyers against them? Maybe the killer is saying it's good, do that, and is just encouraging a CEO with bullets. But that's not the worst part, all right. Talking about health insurance, Second Amendment remedies, political assassinations, the themes of impending civil war, right-wing militias, mass shootings, all these real-life things, it's a lot. And they take me out of the story completely. Make this a satire. Like a total satire of Silence of the Lambs would be great. Hide the message with comedy. You're naturally very funny, so lean into that. Yes, so completely change all of the theme and meaning. Well, like the reason I sat down to write this, all the like, this is what's going on in the world and this is where we're heading. Like people are gonna start murdering CEOs and congressmen because our political system doesn't work. And when the media is like, oh no, a rich CEO is killed, this is the worst thing ever. I don't know that all the people are gonna be on the side of that. Interesting. And what does this say about our society and where we're headed? No. Make it a comedy about like Silence of the Lambs, because audiences don't want real life shit. They want escapism. They want to go see Marvel movie. They want Hannibal. Go make one about like a transgender serial killer. That's good escapism. Put some jokes in it. They don't want to root on an anti-hero that murders CEOs. That's no way. That's not. We don't want that. We wouldn't root for someone like that, especially not if they have like good chin, you know? That's revenge on the super greedy. No, we can't make a comedy. People don't want to think about their health insurance while they're watching a movie. We don't want to imagine murdering like the super greedy assholes who decided that they would use an AI to deny your claims even though they knew the AI was wrong all the time. We don't want to root for the people that murder them. We don't want to imagine doing that ourselves. So anyway, that was a script of mine. You can't read it. You're not allowed. I won't even tell you what it's called. I don't know, in the comments, come up with a title for my script. If you're new to the channel, I don't usually talk about politics or current events or any of that. Mostly I talk about weird movies you've never heard of, or I get a gynecologist friend and I show her clips from movies that are really weird birth scenes and then get her to react, and I ask her questions like, could you crinkle cut a foreskin? Coming up, we're gonna be covering the Chiefs Hallmark movie, Hundreds of Beavers. Also, maybe in the comments, you tell me which of these films should we review on the channel next. Traveling Alone in America for Women, VHS, or The Pope Must Diet. Anyway, I'm gonna go do some Silence of the Lambs type shit. This is my dog Sparky. Don't steal my dog or I'll have to throw you in a well. Isn't that right, Sparky? This dude humps all the freaking time. He is so humpy. He's 10. He's fixed. He follows around Pepper, our female dog, who's also fixed. And he just kind of humps the air near her. He does it 30 minutes a day, at least. That's how he gets his energy out. Anyway, you can adopt Sparky. He's available for adoption at Lucky 13 Rescue. He's 10. He's humpy. He's Sparky.